Alright, what is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back again here on PlayStation Source, and we have one of my favorite games on PS5, technically my favorite PS5 game that's only on PlayStation 5, and my game of the year 2021, Returnal, coming to the PC crowd with a PC release. I love this game, and let's go over all the info that we have available for the PC version of Returnal coming to you PC players very shortly. Starting out here, it will be released on February 15th, so coming up here very shortly, and it is developed by either entirely or in collaboration with Climax Studios, with of course Housemarque being the main developer that initially released Returnal. So Climax Studios is a UK based developer who has worked with Housemarque in the past on Resogun, which is a great game as well, and Dead Nation that was released back in the day on Housemarque for PS3. But they have also worked on the Silent Hill series with Silent Hill Origins, which is a PSP exclusive game, and Silent Hill Shattered Memories, a remake of the original Silent Hill game. So they seem to be some sort of like support studio that has helped Housemarque in the past with their past games, and they are here helping out with the Returnal PC port. I've also left a link down below in the description to the Climax Studios Wikipedia page if you want to look over that. I'll also have links to the PS blog that we're about to go over and a PC pre-order page for Steam. That way you can check out some of the bonuses that are coming with Returnal for PC. But starting out here, we are getting NVIDIA and AMD performance features. It reads as such: NVIDIA DLSS and AMD FSR have been added, allowing you to dial up your frame rate without compromising on resolution. NVIDIA NIS has also been added for those players who also want to see an increase in performance but don't have the hardware to support DLSS or FSR, so cool for that. If you guys have those capable graphics cards, you can have those really cool different performance features to get more frames per second without compromising any type of resolution from a visual standpoint. Now next up here, we do have ray tracing and ultra wide support for Returnal as well. So Returnal already supported ray trace shadows, but now with the PC port, it will now also support RT reflections, and these have been added to different wet surfaces, different water patches across the game, as well as shiny reflections as well. And man, I wish we had these on PS5, because if you look at this screenshot here, you can see Celine walking on top of some water, and man, it looks really great in the screenshot. And I wish we had that here on the PS5 version, but you PC crowd, you get that, so enjoy that as well. And involving the widescreen resolutions, it will now support ultra wide at 21:9 aspect ratio and super ultra wide from a 32:9 aspect ratio as well. So you'll get to see those great big glorious bosses on Returnal from a full widescreen format. I bet it's gonna look crazy on ultra wides. And as you can see here on screen, you can see the glorious PC spec sheet. Enjoy this. You know, I'm sure some of you guys will find a lot of enjoyment in this PC spec sheet and everything. Looks like all you'll need to max out the game with full 4K 60 ray tracing is probably an RTX 3080 Ti as opposed to this graph, or in, you know, comparison as well on the AMD side, an AMD Radeon RX 6950 XT it looks like. So you'll be able to easily get that 4K 60 with ray tracing with those cards. And what's odd here that I figured I mentioned here on this part of the video is that I'm not seeing anything involving a frame rate that is higher than 60. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty peculiar to me, because I feel like they can easily get Returnal running in 120 frames. It's not, you know, that crazy of an intensive game from a format standpoint. It is visually at times, but not really that intensive overall. So very confused at that as well. Not sure what the holdup is there, and it's kind of unclear at this point if it will support anything over 60 frames. It's not listed on the blog post at all, so we'll have to see when the full game comes out on PC. But it seems like where we're at with this video's recording, there is no indication that you'll be able to run Returnal higher than 60 frames per second, which could be a bummer for a lot of PC players. One of the best aspects of Returnal is its audio. There is incredible different sounds, the way some guns sound, the way some enemies sound, you know, the overall just landscape of the audio is incredibly dense and unique in Returnal. And we have some audio features to accompany that great soundscape, including 3D sound capabilities if you have headphones, Dolby Atmos, and surround sound for 5.1 and 7.1 systems as well, along with a custom ray trace audio system as well for the game to be able to get you fully immersed from an audio perspective as well. Now, you may not be able to play the PC version specifically on PlayStation 5, but you do get some DualSense features if you plug in your DualSense directly to your PC and play Returnal. So the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers will be available to you if you plug in your DualSense controller into your PC and use it to play Returnal. Now, what is very important here is that I'm going to try to explain the importance of the triggers with Returnal, as opposed to, of course, the haptic feedback is great on Returnal, but the triggers are very important because every gun has a primary fire mode and a secondary fire mode. And on the right trigger for shooting, you pull down the trigger down to the halfway point to initiate the primary fire, and then you pull it down all the way to the secondary position to get the secondary fires going on like really like a lot of guns in Returnal. So it is very important to be able to use that. Not sure how it's going to work on PC if you're not using a DualSense. That's a very big question up in the air, but they do say here that they do have mouse and keyboard support that is available for Returnal, and they have a wide range of customization options to fit your needs. So I'm assuming you can probably bind the secondary fire mode on weapons to a different key on PC, but once again, I do not know that for sure. That is just speculation from me. Lastly here, we got to go over these PC pre-order bonuses. They are very similar and I think almost identical to the PS5 pre-order bonuses, but there are a few things I want to highlight here that make these very useful for people that want to play Returnal. So early on, I'm sure you guys heard maybe about Returnal, that this game was a little bit difficult for some people to get into the swing of things of Returnal, and I can agree to that to a certain degree, that it is a pretty challenging game at times, right? But once you get the hang of it, once you get access to the different weapons and different consumables and different artifacts that you'll find throughout your playthroughs and throughout your runs in Returnal, you'll get a lot more stronger and the game becomes a lot easier. However, with these pre-order bonuses, I want to highlight some of these because these can be very, very powerful for the early player if you pre-order the game. If you know you're going to play it, I would honestly advise you pre-order to get access to these bonuses. That way you can have these early on and not struggle so much in the beginning of the game with Returnal. So first up, you get access to the Electropian Driver and the Hollow Seeker weapons. These are two weapons that are late game weapons and they are insanely good. Huge shout out to the Hollow Seeker. It is essentially a LMG. It is a very, very powerful weapon if you know how to use it. And the Electropian Driver is not the easiest gun to master, but it is incredibly OP if you know what you're doing with that weapon as well. So I would highly advise you definitely pre-order to at least get those two weapons. Those are extremely important. But you also get access to 3 other things, including 1 reflex simulant. This is a consumable item that enhances reflexes and slows down the perception of time, allowing you extra time to react to incoming projectiles. It's extremely helpful for bosses as well because a lot of the bosses will have a lot of different barrages of different attacks at you, and you're able to slow down time and be able to move her and get some more shots off onto the boss itself. Next up, you'll get access to a pulsating mass artifact. So when you have this artifact on your character, attaching or detaching parasites, aka long story short, parasites are buffs and debuffs in Returnal that you'll sometimes have to choose or be willing to choose on the buff, but have a very bad debuff system as well with it. These are just different attributes that help you or can be a detriment to you as well. But sometimes you may be incentivized to detach these different parasites from your body, and with the pulsating mass artifact, you'll be able to improve your max integrity whether you are attaching a parasite or detaching a parasite. Long story short, again, max integrity is your health in Returnal. So once again, that's a very important artifact to have in the early swing of the game. And lastly here, you'll get access to 1 adrenaline enhancer. So when you have this equipped, you can take an extra hit before losing your adrenaline levels in Returnal. So this is kind of like just like a 1 quick shield just in case you need it, right? And this is incredibly important because the adrenaline level goes up and rises as you kill enemies and not take any damage. But the minute you take damage, you lose the adrenaline levels that you have been gaining. There's 5 different levels of adrenaline in Returnal, and each time you'll get quicker movement, you'll get quicker different ways to strafe, you'll just become more powerful, and it's a very, very good thing to have to keep a high adrenaline system going in Returnal. So definitely to keep those high adrenaline levels, you're going to want to have the adrenaline enhancer on you when you get into Returnal. And I guess one thing I should mention as well, just to really just dig it in here, this game Returnal is a roguelike, right? So what it means to get these bonuses bonuses is that these get added to the weapon pool for the Hollow Seeker and Electropian Driver on the different chests that have weapons. So you'll be able to get these right off the rip starting out, and you'll be able to get access to these as you go through Returnal. It's not like these are things that you can equip onto your character, but rather these are things that you can find in the levels of Returnal from day one, as opposed to finding them eventually and then unlocking them later on. And lastly here, we do get the Steam exclusive suits. So the other 5 bonuses that I said are for Epic Game Store and for Steam, but these 2 suits are Steam exclusive, so you can only get these by pre-ordering on Steam, and these are the same ones that we got for the PS5 pre-order bonuses as well, and these are really cool. My personal favorite that I still have on to this day is that tactical suit. I think it's fire, and definitely go check out those on Steam if you want to get those 2 suits. But that's pretty much all we got here, guys, for Returnal on PC. Once again, I love this game to death. This is my favorite PS5 game exclusively on PS5. Definitely my favorite. I love Returnal, one of my favorite new IPs to come out of the PS5 generation. I really do hope you guys on PC go give it a shot. It's a very fun game. I love it to death. I'm obsessed with it, and I think that y'all will enjoy it as well. Down below, find links to our Discord, our Twitter, and of course our Anchor link that will listen to our long form content and podcast format. PlayStation Weekly will be uploaded tomorrow, hopefully, if I can get that done fast enough. You know what I'm saying? That's going up, as well as do not miss our episode 1, The Last of Us HBO review with my boy Mario Rivera, the brand new series on the channel called Let's Watch, where we are going over PlayStation made TV shows, PlayStation made movies, and all that good stuff, and we'll be able to talk about it week to week or just on the movie basis when it's a movie on the Let's Watch series. And the first one, of course, being Let's Watch The Last of Us HBO. Definitely get excited for episode 2 this week. Cannot wait to get into that and all that great stuff. A lot of you have enjoyed it, as well as subscribe to the PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.